Just 6 years ago, in May 2017, Reading had beaten Fulham in the Championship playoff semi-final. They'd booked their place at Wembley and a return to the top flight of English football seemed imminent. The very next day, it was announced that the club had been taken over by Chinese businessman Dai Yongge and his sister Dan xiuli, the pair buying a 75% majority stake. After a rocky past few years, it looked like the Royals were entering a new era of stability, hope and success in the Premier League. However, Reading fans were soon to find out that life under their new owners had already peaked. The takeover seemed dodgy from the start. The pair of business people had previously owned two other teams, Beijing Rain FC and KSV Rosewater. Under their ownership, both of these clubs relegated and consequently folded due to financial difficulties. And this is what Reading were about to experience too. On May 29th, under the arch at Wembley Stadium, Huddersfield Town beat Reading 4-3 on penalties in the playoff final, and they haven't come close to promotion ever since, with consistent finishes near the relegation zone up until last season when the club were finally relegated. So far this season, Reading haven't adjusted well to life in League One. They currently sit bottom of the table 15 games in. The mess hasn't just come on the pitch, but off the pitch too. In the past 5 years, the club have made pre-tax losses of £146 million, whilst the EFL limit is just £13 million. Talented players have also been allowed to leave the club for relatively low fees due to poor contract management, and after a 2-year transfer embargo was placed on the club between 2021 and 23 due to missed tax payments, the Royals have had a fairly limited squad to work with, meaning poor results on the pitch have come too. More unpaid tax bills saw the club face 2 winding up orders in recent months, where they were threatened with liquidation, and Dai Yongge was also recently charged after failing to pay some club staff in 2022 and 2023. Reading were also charged recently after failing to satisfy an agreed business plan. Lots of these issues have also led to point deductions, Reading being deducted a total of 16 points over the past couple of years. Now, these deductions were also big reasons in why Reading relegated last season, as they would have stayed up by 1 point if those deductions hadn't happened, and they're also a big reason as to why they currently sit bottom of League One this season. In response to this mess, a fan-led pressure group has been set up called Sell Before We Die. They've taken action against the owners, including throwing tennis balls onto the pitch during home games and wearing black to symbolise the club's potential death. Additionally, back in October, a protest march was organised. Over 1,000 people, including fans, former players and local MPs, marched to the Madjeski Stadium in protest. I reached out for a comment from both Reading FC and the EFL, but Reading declined and the EFL never got back to me, which is a shame, as the situation which Reading find themselves in right now is simply not good enough at all. This sort of thing keeps on happening. Bury, Scunthorpe, Southend and now Reading. Stricter owner tests and regulations need to be put in to ensure that people like Dai Yongge aren't in charge of football clubs, which means so much to the community, and that the fans and club staff don't suffer like those here at Reading have done. In the recent King's speech, it was outlined that a new independent football regulator will be put in place soon, and it's clear that this is needed now more than ever.